and a very warm welcome to the episode 90 of the Gooner Ramble podcast. I'm your host Giles, back from my xmas sojourn. I hope you all have enjoyed the festive period. And for those of you who've had to trek into work today, I feel for you. Without further ado, let me introduce you to today's esteemed panel. First up, it's the one and only Gooner Princess herself. We've got Gooner Girl Amanda. How you doing, Mans?
Good evening.
You all right? You revved up?
I'm ready to go and my microphone's working now.
Thank goodness, thank goodness.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I don't know what Mark thinks about that, but I can hear you. And as I've just pre-introduced him, we've got the man himself, the Silver Fox, the one, the only Goon. Was it George Clooney tribute act? Is that what you call yourself down your end, Mark?
Rosemary Clooney tribute act, maybe, mate.
Yeah.
That's one for the old people there, because you've got no idea who Rosemary Clooney is, have you?
I have no idea. No idea.
His mum or his aunt or something.
Cool, yeah. All right, good. And really and truly, this guy should be called the inverted whinger. He hates it with a passion. You know him as Was the Gooner. We know him as Warren. How you doing, mate? Welcome back to the pod.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. I guess getting ready to get stuck into this.
Good stuff. All right, let's dig right into it now. I'm going to start by saying to you guys, it's been a decent Christmas period. 3 games, 7 points. Not too bad. Mark, start with you. Would you be satisfied, or are you satisfied with those return points?
No. I mean, well, which games were we including in that?
So we're talking about the one on Boxing Day. I was at that game. I cannot remember who we played against.
West Brom,
mate.
Palace, and obviously Bournemouth. That's your 3 festive.
Oh, right, just them 3.
Yeah.
7 points. I suppose with the games coming thick and fast, you know, you could look at how Southampton have struggled. I mean, that was ridiculous. 3 games in 6 days or something they had, and they lost them all. I don't know. I want to kind of say 7 points ain't bad, but you know what? When you look at the 3 games, you'd have to say, all right, West Brom's a tough old game because Pulis has made them very hard to beat this year. And, you know, and we've done well to nick that near the end. Palace are fucking shocking. Oh, sorry, I swore. I've blown the already. Palace are shocking.
Yeah.
So, you know, that should have been fairly routine. Bournemouth, you know, I'm disappointed because whilst Bournemouth are a decent team, you know, they have lost to quite a few clubs, and I just think we should be good enough to go down there, regardless of any excuses about how much rest they had compared to us, and beat them. You know, this is Bournemouth we're talking about. We're talking about a club with nothing like the players that we've got, nothing like the squad size that we've got, probably nothing like the injury list that we've got either, to be honest, but there you go. And we should be able to go down there and we should be able to put on a good display and win in Bournemouth, the same as we did last year. That shouldn't be beyond us. What actually we saw, and I know we'll come to it, but what actually we saw was shameful, to be perfectly honest. For 70 minutes, you know, I'll give some credit for the last 20, but for 70 minutes, that was an absolute disgrace to Arsenal Football Club. So 7 points, I just really think that if we wanted to really challenge for the title, we needed 9.
Mans, I'm going to throw the same question at you. If you look at those 3 games, there's 3 games in, was it 8 days? I think is that right? We played, I think it's 3 games in 8 days. Compared to our rivals, it was around the same, apart from Chelsea, who we saw lost earlier tonight. They had 3 games in 10 days. Are you, when you look at it in that block of 3 games, would you say that's an okay, all right? I mean, we were undefeated. We got 2 victories, although, you know, you were meant to. 7 points, it's not that bad when you look at it like that, is it?
It would have been that bad if we'd have beaten Everton or City. That's the problem, isn't it? That's why we're now, 5th, and chasing our tails again. I mean, obviously we're not going to discuss the Bournemouth game till maybe a bit later on in the podcast, but if you'd have looked at 7 points over Christmas, you'd have gone, okay, fair enough. You know, Bournemouth did have an extra day. I didn't realise they had an extra day, and they came out well, we'll talk about that later, but you know what I'm saying. But we didn't. And to lose, when you think about it, 3 away games, we've got 1 point. Let's put it like that. That's not good enough. That's not going to win us the league.
Was?
Spot on, really, mate. Completely agree with Amanda and Mark. I mean, realistically, 7 points, had we got results at Everton or City, would have been a good return and a decent return, taking into account the speed of the games and how thick and fast they're coming. But realistically, we're sat too far behind Chelsea, and we're in a position now where every game is a must-win game, and it's going to be like that for the rest of the season probably, because it's hotting up. United are getting involved, Tottenham are getting involved. It's not a 2-3 horse race anymore. There is 6 teams up there that are all in with a shout of going on a run, and whoever does go on a run can soon shoot up the table. But I just thought over Christmas it ended with such a sour performance, really. And I thought the first game, the West Brom game, like Mark said, we ground it out. We had to work hard. We done it. We got the points. Move on. The next game was a doddle. No real performance needed there. Palace offered next to nothing, and we did get the result, and we were comfortable. And then the one game where we really had to turn up, I just couldn't understand it. But yes, we got the point in the end. But we really should be taking 9, I think, from them 3 games. And no games played on paper, but when you do look at the fixtures and you looked at our Christmas period, you thought after them difficult games at Everton and City, then they really were a good chance to pick up some points and probably running right through into February when we play Chelsea. But every game's a must-win game now, I feel.
Let's move to the Palace game. Routine 2-0 victory. I suppose a lot of people might have worried a little bit about Sam Allardyce coming in and, the way he gets his teams to play and whatnot. But from my point of view, I really couldn't draw much from that game. I thought Palace were abject. I know Allardyce was quite happy. He was quite encouraged by what he saw out there. But as an opposition for us, I thought they were abject, as you guys probably all would agree. I've read on social media that we didn't allow them the space to work in their midfield. But when you look at a combination of Johan Cabaye, who's got no legs, and Mathieu Flamini, who won't tire of telling you how bad he was in our midfield last season, we were set to dominate that game from the off. But was talking about that game. Let's just talk about that game briefly. Obviously, you've got the scorpion kick, which was just absolutely nuts. You were there, right? I'll take it. I know the other two were there. You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Quickly, give us a quick overview of the game, the scorpion kick, what kind of conclusions you drew from that 2-0 game.
Like you said, I found it very difficult to draw the conclusions, and what you said about Allardyce I thought was spot on. I was expecting a much sterner task, and I looked at their front 3 and I thought, well, you know what, we've seen ourselves set up narrow in previous seasons, and a front 3 like that would really cause us problems on the break. And Palace were just poor. Benteke, I thought Gabriel had a very good game. He just muscled him out of everything. I thought Bellerin was absolutely exceptional. Zaha had absolutely nothing to play with. Every time he did get the ball, Bellerin shut him down. And I thought we were very good. I thought Iwobi in that number 10 role, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he really, really did play well. And there was a lot of positives, but like you said, it's very difficult to draw real conclusions from a game like that because they did offer so little as a team. And that goal, I mean, there's moments as a football fan that you go to stadiums and you see things and they'll live with you till the day you die. And that is something I'll never forget. And it's only the second time I'd say third time actually, I've ever been absolutely astonished in the ground. 2 of them were for unreal goals. The other was when Flamini scored at the lane. But this goal, similar to the Jack Wilshere thing, right from the very, very edge of our own box, when Lucas Perez slides in, intercepts, we get the quick breakout. Olivier Giroud, 6'4" Olivier Giroud in his own half, doing a superb flick to completely open up the game. Doesn't just stop there, turns on his bike, and yeah, he's riding a very slow bike, but his bike got there, and when it did get there, I mean, my God, people saying it's luck, it's 100% it's instinctive, but that man, the beauty of the way he's looking, his eyes are contacting the ball. As soon as the ball hits his foot, his eyes are on it, and it's just poetry in motion. And the the first reaction was in the whole stadium. There was just like, what have we just seen? I just stood there with my two hands on my head, and I watched it back about 1,000 times when I got home, and the commentary, I loved every second of it. But it was just one of them moments, and you can hear the gasp, almost the gasp when the first replay was shown. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, we've just witnessed something special." And goals like that, you really can't enjoy them because you're just. I'm still stunned now, and it is one of them things that I don't think I'll ever see again on the football pitch. I know Mkhitaryan done similar, but Giroud's 6'4". His foot must have been 6 foot in the air, and he's looked at it, contact with it, pinged it top bins off the underside of the bar. I mean, his face was a picture, but I could talk about the goal for months. It was just beautiful. But at the end of the day, moments like that are what we pay our money for, and we'll remember forever. And it's certainly something in 30, 40 years' time. I've got grandchildren and children. I can say to them, bloody hell, you need to see this goal. It was something special. So fair play, Giroud, and I was very happy with it.
Man, go on.
I can't add to that. It's exactly how we all felt. But I think one of the funniest things was from where I sat, it's where I sit. So it was to the left of me at the other end. I actually thought it was a header to begin with. So everyone around me was like a bit shocked. It went quiet. When the replay came in, the whole ground went, oh, like that, like the amazement, the sounds of it was just, as Warren says, there are certain goals in your lifetime of watching Arsenal. I was at the Lane that night actually with Flamini, so I know what you're talking about. Jack Wilshere, Mickey Thomas, of course, but I've not seen anything like that, and I keep watching it. And I mean, he even said on the BBC interview, not the Sky one, I didn't see the Sky one, he said, I had no choice, it was behind me. So for him, it was the instinct of bringing his foot behind. I mean, it's just brilliant. And the best thing is, it's onside, unlike Mkhitaryan's, who's miles offside. So that was the funny part of all that. But Palace they didn't offer much, but we still had to beat them. They weren't. We've not played well for a long time, but let's not take anything away from Giroud. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Was there a collective kind of, like you said, there was a collective gasp when it came up on the big screen, kind of reminiscent of when people saw the Jack Wilshere go? Because I remember there was a delayed reaction to that because people thought it was offside or something like that, and they saw it on a big screen. Or was it different from that?
It was different. It was Jack Wilshere's goal was brilliant. Okay, this is different I'm sorry, for me this was better because it starts from way back, and that flick from Giroud and Alexis's pass, I can't explain. I prefer that goal. That's all I'm going to say. So the gasp was different. People were like in amazement that he actually was able to do that scorpion kick. And we kept watching it. They show it about 2 or 3 times.
Mark,
I feel they were in amazement that Giroud had actually got there, mate. But,
Mark, I mean,
he didn't. It was behind him.
the speed of the counter
in front of it.
Yeah,
he's too quick.
Fast. He was too quick on his very slow bike. No, listen, both. How was summed that up was perfect. To be honest, I've been watching football longer than you guys have, and it's an absolute top quality goal. It's a great move, it starts off with a guy making a great interception tackle and laying it off, little ball through. The flick from Giroud is great, but then he does get on his bike, and he ain't the fastest, but he did get on his bike and he got there, and as soon as he realises it's behind him, that's when, a player just goes into instinct mode. And I understand what he said on Match of the Day. There is a little bit of luck because he could try that another 99 times, and 99 of them could go into block 124, whatever it is down there. But he tried it once, and it went in once, and it was a brilliant goal. And as was said, it's the kind of goal that you will never forget. There are certain goals that you will never forget. Some because of the game it was in or the meaning that goal gave, but some just for the goal itself and the sheer beauty of what that goal. How that goal came about, the build up and the finish, and just how how perfectly executed. And I know they were having, like that idiot Lawrenson was having a laugh at Mark Chapman on Match of the Day. But Mark Chapman's right. There is something delicious about watching a goal go in off the underside of the bar. There is just something that little bit nice where you think, that's how close that was to hitting the bar and just being glorious failure. But actually it hit the bar and went in, and it just makes it a beautiful thing. That's when, you know, I can agree with Arsene Wenger about, you know, the beauty of football. It was fantastic. But Palace was shit. I was a bit disappointed that there was about a 5-10 minute period where we did give him a bit of hope in the second half. Benteke's header, I mean, that was a poor miss for a player of his quality, and they had a couple of other chances. But other than that, yeah, fairly routine. And good goal by Iwobi. I thought he took his header really well. That was a difficult header to try and loop over the defenders and in, so he took that well.
On Iwobi, as was alluded to, he played in his natural position of a number 10 mark. What did you make of it? I mean, he looked really comfortable. He looked like a man reborn. But what did you think of his performance?
He played all right. You know, he played all right. But I'm just concerned that, you know, that's Iwobi playing well in a very good Arsenal team against Crystal Palace. You know, I'm not convinced that he's anywhere near going to be the standard that would be required for a number 10 in bigger games. But you know, I like the lad. I still look at him when he picks up the ball and he starts running, and I see Rocastle. I hope the lad makes a long and glorious Arsenal career. But he is, as I've said before, he's very young. I think we've got to be careful with him. I think it's ridiculous that with £150 million in the bank, we're having to play him so much. So, yeah, he had a good game. I like the lad. Great goal. But, you know, it's Palace. If he could do that at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, I'd sing a different tune.
Yeah, just quickly, I think Mark made a very good point about the early chance we allowed Benteke to have, and Rondon had a similar one, and we just seemed to switch off. And I said to the fellow I was sitting next to just before half time, I said we're creating chances, we couldn't get that second goal, and I said to him, you know what'll happen now? Come out and Benteke will have a chance, and if they score, it could be a very different game. And the cross come in, and he fluffed his lines, Benteke, and also what I felt is after we did get the second goal, we seemed to just become under the cosh for the next sort of 10, 15 minutes, and they were dominating the game for a spell, and Wenger didn't react and didn't make subs, and he waited till the 72nd minute, which personally I thought was very strange given the amount of games in the short space of time that were being 2-0 up at home against Crystal Palace, and also the changes he did make, I can't understand, because El Nene was off to the African Cup of Nations anyway, so I don't understand giving him minutes on the bench, resting him, because there was no need. Lucas Perez started the next game on the bench, and he took him off. So what was the point in resting him? And he took Alex Iwobi off, rightly so, because he often tires late in games. But like we've been forced, he come off against West Brom as well.
Are you saying it messed up the ebb and flow of our game then?
No, what I meant, mate, is I thought that just after we scored the second goal, I thought the next 10, 15 minutes we were very disjointed and we weren't in control of the game. And I thought Palace were getting on top. And I thought that was the time to just make the subs. We've gone 2-0 up. There's half hour left, 33 minutes or whatever's left. We've got a big game in 2 days later. Take the right players off. But the subs he did make, obviously we won the game 2-0 and it's all about winning that game. But I personally think we could have sacrificed maybe some players that we knew were going to play again 2 days later. And barring Iwobi, I mean, obviously with Perez and El Nene, we didn't take that opportunity.
Yeah, was he spot on for me? I mean, you know, the point about El Nene is perfect. You know, why are you taking him off? You know, just run him into the ground for the rest of the game, please, because he's fucking off to go and play for someone else now. But Alexis, yeah, why is Alexis still on the pitch for 90 minutes of that game? You're 2-0 up. Why? I mean, like, you know, I realise, and we're beginning to see, I think, a slightly different side to Alexis, which I think we'll probably discuss later. But I know he doesn't want to come off. even when, when he finished that game, he like takes his tape off his wrist and he flings it down and he's got his head down and he stomps off. Yeah, the guy's a mentalist in my mind. He's a basket case. I don't know what's the matter with him, but I love him to pieces. But we will not win this title without Alexis being able to play, as many of the top games as we can get him to play. And just keeping on grinding him into the dirt with 90 minutes when you could take him off is ridiculous. Whether it's Wenger's dislike of confrontation, some people are saying, oh, you can't take him off when we're trying to get him to sign a contract. To me, that's just, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, you want to tell the guy, someone needs to explain to him, we're 2-0 up against West Brom. We don't need you for the last 15 minutes, Alexis. You've done your job. Come and sit down. Yeah, we need you in a couple of weeks' time when we go to Liverpool, when we go to Chelsea. Yeah, we don't want to run you into the ground like we did at Norwich and you ping your hamstring and lose you, because if we lose him, we are bollocksed. Yeah, and we've just lost Coquelin, and it was shortly after we lost Coquelin that we lost
Cos.
No, Alexis.
Last season.
Last season.
Yeah.
So, we will not compete for this title without that man. Yeah, bollocks to Ozil. Ozil will not win us this title because he hasn't got the personality to win us this title. Alexis has. Alexis could single-handedly drag this team across the finishing line. So we can't grind him into the dirt, but he continues to give him 90 minutes. And the thing is, the guy doesn't stop running. And the longer the game goes on, maybe he's more at risk of injury. So I agree 100% with Woz. I don't get his substitutions sometimes. It's just beggars belief.
Amanda, do you feel for Wenger in this situation? Do you think it could be to do with either the personality that comes along with Alexis Sanchez? He's one of those kids that just want to play all the time, or do you think it could be something to do with it? We don't know, but could it be something to do with Wenger's got to handle it delicately because of the contract situation? He doesn't want to upset him unnecessarily, or even thinking that out loud it sounds ludicrous. A manager doesn't want to upset a player, but it happens. Or do you think it's something else? Do you think that Wenger's actually being a bit too is treating it with a bit too much of a soft touch? And as Mark and Woz have said, you gotta handle him and handle him well, and that means manage his game time so we don't lose him for 3 months in the season.
Now, before I say what I'm going to say, I want everyone to know that I've wanted Wenger to leave for a couple of seasons, all right? Because this is going to sort of contradict it a little bit. The reason I think, look, he's not an idiot, Wenger, although I do agree with why he's being left on. I don't understand. But he must know why he's leaving him on. He doesn't want to intentionally injure him. As Mark said, we are fucked. Oh, sorry. We are finished, right? He's the only one. Watch him last night, which we'll discuss in a minute. He's the only one that is the power in that team. He's just unbelievable. I think he's one of these players, and I really don't want to say this because I don't want to book it. I think he's probably better off playing than not. Okay, the contract thing might have something to do with it, but then I go against that because the manager has to manage that team, and you can't just play a player because he's worried he's going to leave. It's like being a bad parent with a child, I'm afraid. We don't know what goes on. It's really hard because the thing is we are 2-0 up at home. We have got a game 48 hours later, whatever it is, whenever it was, I agree. Okay, he doesn't need to be playing, but he doesn't often sub him. And I don't want to say about the injury side because I will book it, but maybe Sanchez is better off playing than not. I don't know. I know, look, I've had this argument before. We should bring him off with 10 minutes to go if we're 3-0 up. We want to save him. We want to wrap him up, which we don't often do. But I don't know. I don't understand half of what Arsene Wenger does. We all said as we sat down, why is El Neni not playing? I'm not being funny, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but if he plays and gets injured, it's not our problem. You know, he's got to play for us, and he doesn't play him. So I can't question Wenger. I don't know. I haven't got
So
a clue.
you make an interesting point about playing Sanchez. Could it be he's one of those, physiologically, he's one of those that, you know, you kind of keep him at peak physical fitness if you're playing. Yeah, when he's playing. I mean, you know, he might be better off, you know, playing all the time to keep those muscles, you know, at an optimum level. I don't know what to call it. I wish Jane Cavendish was here. She'd probably be able to explain what I'm trying to say better. But do you think Amanda's got a point, Mark, was?
Me personally, mate, I don't disagree with what Amanda's saying, but I think there's a way that you can keep Alexis playing without him playing 90 minutes every bloody week. I don't understand the thinking behind it. Last season, we run him into the ground and his hamstring went. And this season, we're running him into the ground. Now we've put him out on the wing and we're asking him to run up and down like a nutcase. And it'll be sooner or later and his hamstring will go. And I don't understand. And honestly, Amanda, we all know what that could do to our season. But what really winds me up, there's been occasions this season, I said it earlier on in the season, where we've had matches where they're not dead rubber, because no match ever is. We know that. We proved ourselves the other day at 3-0 down. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is a top side and a top club should have the squad and the bench and the trust to be able to bring off their key men. And if you look around Europe, every big club, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they take off their star men and rest them. And what will wind me up is Alexis probably won't even be in the squad now for the Preston game. And if we're in difficulties in that game, we could have had Alexis on the bench, 15, 20 minutes to go, come on and just win us the game. But we'll go there with probably a load of kids on the bench, and if it don't go right, we could be in trouble. But we need to just look after Alexis. We need to look after our best players, and I'm just worried it's something that we've all discussed, that we don't trust Wenger to rotate sometimes, but I don't know. Well, hopefully Alexis flies through with flying colours, but I can't see any footballer doing it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you look back over, since he's come back from the international duty where he had a calf injury, he had a thigh injury, he was taped up like Tutankhamun, and we were all wondering, will he play, will he not? Since that moment, he's pretty much been playing all the time. Probably the Southampton game in the League Cup might have been the only game he hasn't played, possibly one other, I'm not sure. But physiologically, I mean, every player is different, and you treat every player. You got, you know, your medics and your metrics and your performance data analysts and whatnot will give you different metrics on different players, and maybe it's just a case of, you know, he's just different from someone like Ozil or someone like, you know, Iwobi or whoever. You know, it could just be that, you know, maybe we're overthinking, maybe we're over worrying the situation. I don't know. Maybe you guys are right. I don't know. Moving on to the team then, you know, the game at Bournemouth. Obviously, before the game, there was a lot of talk about, you know, the fixture schedule and how we've got 24 hours less recovery time than Bournemouth and whatnot. And then there was a lot of, you know, discussion about, should he rotate? Would it be a heavy rotation or soft rotation? In the end, he only rotated 3 players. And the start of the game, or for a long time in the game, you could see that we just looked so underpowered. Mark, I'm going to come to you. Would you, looking back in hindsight, just starting with the team list, I mean, were you surprised by the starting lineup?
Well, I mean, look, it's hard for me to say I'd be surprised when, you know, I ask the guy to do some rotation, and when he does it, if I say I'm surprised, you know, I mean, he has to try these things. And that's, as I said earlier, you know, we should be able to go to Bournemouth with the first team players and the squad players that we have got, and be able to come away with a win from that game. Yeah, it just, that's the way it should be. The team was good enough. That team was good enough to win the game. The problem I've got is more, why is that team bad enough to have played like dog shit for 70 minutes? I mean, that's not a million miles away from a team that people would say was our first choice team. You know, barring obviously Ozil, yeah, you'd look at that and go, yeah, you know, that's not far away. So regardless of that, how can those players turn up and play that poorly. Yeah. Now I don't listen to anything the man has to say nowadays, so I don't know what he's come out with. The normal thing that I would hear is we weren't prepared for the intensity, blah 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 blah. This is Bournemouth's game. This is what Bournemouth do. Yeah, they had the first player to run 14 kilometres in a Premier League game this season.
Dan Gosling.
Yeah, yeah. They had I think 3 other players just below him at the top of the mileage charts. This is Bournemouth's game. This is what they do. They run and run and run, and they harry you and they press you, and they won't fucking give up, as Liverpool found out, as Bellerin found out. Yeah, last night. They won't give up. So I just, regardless of the team that he put up, you look at that team should be more than capable of winning at Bournemouth. What I don't understand, how is they're capable of playing that badly for 70 minutes?
Do you think there is anything to be said for me personally, okay, you could talk of we've got less recovery time, but 3-0, it's not, 3-0 is it just kind of blows it out of the water, doesn't it? The complaints about recovery time and whatnot. You shouldn't be 3-0 worse off. You shouldn't be 3. A club of our stature and the squad that we have, that we've all said at the beginning of the season was arguably the best squad in the league. Mark's just said, well, no matter what team you put out there, you should be getting the better of Bournemouth. 3-0 is a big freaking margin, even if you are 24 hours worse off than your opponent, right?
Right, mate. And the thing is, G, that what I look at, mate, is it's all very well moaning about them 48 hours, but like we just discussed before, the substitutions he made in the previous game had absolutely no bearing on the starting 11, barring Iwobi. And that's his own doing. Now, we could have given 2 other players a good 30-minute rest. And that takes a big... when I looked at the team, though, I just think it's so similar to last season. It was so frustrating. We got Olivier Giroud, a 6'4" centre forward. We had no intention of having any width. Bournemouth played on that. They just done everything that you thought they would do, run the channels well. Stanislas getting into areas. You had, centre forward, you had Mustafi on toast. It was just, we could talk about individuals all day long. I just thought the system weren't correct, and I thought I was just worried. I was worried when I saw the lineup, and I just knew that it was almost a carbon copy of the previous Arsenal we've seen last season. And also, West Brom at home, we done a similar thing. Palace, like we said, we can't really gauge because they were poor. But we struggled a similar way against West Brom, and they just didn't have the stuff to hit us on the counter. But this Bournemouth side are, like Mark said, they're all about pace, they're all about movement, all about running. They run the channels. Callum Wilson had a fantastic game, I thought. Absolutely brilliant. Tireless game, kept working, kept dragging people out of position. We were narrow. Defensively, we were a shambles. The first 15 minutes, he had Ramsey at number 10, and there was no creativity. Iwobi struggles with the creativity. Ramsey struggles when it was weird. And then he switched Ramsey out to the right, and then about 2 minutes later, that goal happens, and I'm sure we'll go on and talk about all the mishaps that happened with the 3 goals and that. But it was just such a shambolic start, and you can talk about 2 games in 48 hours, and you can make excuses about tiredness and injuries. But at the end of the day, we're Arsenal Football Club, and we shouldn't be 3-0 down inside that period of time to any team, let alone Bournemouth. And no disrespect to Bournemouth, because we know they're a good footballing side, but we're Arsenal. We're meant to be up there challenging for the title. You cannot go 3-0 down in any game against any team. I'd be disappointed if we played Barcelona and we were 3-0 down. You cannot do that. And the manner we went 3-0 down, we went 1-0 down, then we responded like a bunch of wallies. And why? There's so many questions to answer, and I know we'll go into it, but I'm sure Amanda's got her opinion on the starting 11 and how we went. But I'm going to roll in a bit because I'm pretty wound up about this one. But
I'm probably just as wound up about same as you about this. I'm on an Arsenal forum on Facebook. Interestingly, no one's on Twitter on this one, and beyond livid, everyone was, except a couple of people that said, well, you know what, Bournemouth are not a bad side, they're 9th or 10th or whatever. I don't care. No one, wherever we go, we should be prepared and ready. where were we for the first 60, 70 minutes? We didn't even turn up. Now, Warren, I want to talk to you about your mate Ramsey, right? Bellerin had a shocker. Now, we've never said that before. I don't even think I've ever thought it before. But where was his cover for the first goal? Why was he allowed that amount of space? Where was your mate? Second of all, I'll let you speak in a second. Right, let's not take anything away from Bournemouth. They did exactly what they should have done to us, because you knew, look, Mark, when you said, I don't listen to him anymore, my dad was on the phone. You can just imagine, can't you? 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. I think he despises Wenger more than you. We all knew what Wenger was going to say. We've had less preparation. We've had this. We've had that. Well, you know what? Liverpool did as well. Yeah, there are teams that did had less than us and more than us. Whatever it is, you get on with it. To be three, I can't even speak. Now, the only thing I would say, I thought the ref had a blinder apart from their third goal, because their third goal was the same foul that on Bellerin that Xhaka did, but Xhaka's was in the penalty area. I think ours was in the penalty area actually. But let's talk about Xhaka for a second here. I love him. I want him playing every game, but not when he does that. That is a complete liability for me. What was he doing? It's not even a debate in my eyes about a penalty. I didn't even need to see a replay on what he did. We were at 6s and 7s. We were all over the place. It's not good enough. And you know what? I'm absolutely thrilled we came back to 3-0. But it didn't feel like that at the end. It felt like a loss. I wasn't buzzing. If we've been 1 or 2-0 down before and we've grabbed it back, I'm buzzing. And let's just talk about Giroud here. People that have listened to me over the years on different podcasts will know I've never ever been his biggest fan. I never think that we'll ever win the league with Giroud. But lately, I've got to hold my hands up to him. He's trying hard. He's scoring goals. He's fighting for it. And I actually stuck up for him on Twitter today. How dare Arsenal fans have a go at him for celebrating? You know what? He celebrated for about 7 seconds. The boy had just got us back to 3-0. We were 3-0 down. Maybe for that split second, he didn't think, shit, let's get back to let's get back to kick-off as quick as we can. It's irrelevant anyway. You get 30 seconds. And not only that, Bournemouth weren't back before he got back anyway. I was livid. How dare they? He just brought us back to 3-0, salvaged a point virtually. Okay, I know Arsenal fans, like most football fans, like to moan, but we were 3-0 down away from home and playing fucking shit, and he gets us back to 3-0. He's not allowed to celebrate. Oh, seriously, I've got no time for people like that. I loved what the Ox did. The Ox looked at him and said, quick, let's get back. Another couple of, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, we might have got another one. We wouldn't have deserved it. But I'm appalled by what I saw. Yes, he then came out, Mark, and said Bellerin had a knock, and this one had a knock, and this one had a knock. And I'm gutted. I always worry when Coquelin goes down, because that for me is a month out, and we can't afford not to have him. And also, one thing I'd like to point out, obviously it's hindsight, but Jack Wilshere could have had a loan for 6 months, couldn't he? Could he have not come back in this window if they'd have agreed that? Knowing El Neni was off to the AFCON, knowing we'd probably have a couple of injuries because it's just us. You know, we are really, really now under pressure with Xhaka and Ramsey. Who else have we got?
What?
Yes.
Sorry, that's my rant. I've been waiting all day for that.
I can certainly feel your pain. I'll tell you need to get it out, Amanda, because I know how you feel. I've been fuming. I've been at work all day today. I've been ignoring people. Horrible, horrible bloke to work with today. I've been fuming. But, I mean, it was a comedy of errors. Like you said, the first goal, it was just embarrassing, really. And Ramsey's certainly at fault. He should be deeper and he should be aware and he should be in them. But when that ball's pinged across the field, Charlie Daniels is out there on his own. Now, Bellerin shuffles across, and when you watch it back, Ramsey should be tucked in there, definitely. I'm not defending him. But Mustafi, if you watch it back, it's dreadful from Mustafi. He doesn't close the gap. Bellerin goes across. Mustafi just needs to shuffle across as well. It's such a simple thing. As a centre-back, you get there, and the gap that creates between Bellerin and Mustafi allows Daniels just to cut inside. It's poor defending from Bellerin. He's poor. But if Mustafi is across like he should be. He's just got to shuffle 5 yards, then that shot don't get away. And I thought Czech was poor as well, but it was awful from Ramsey. And I actually think that what you said about Coquelin, I would say I thought we were better when Coquelin come off the pitch and we got Ox on wide and Ox come on the right and Ramsey sat back in alongside Xhaka. And bearing in mind we were 2-0 down at the time when that happened. And I think it stabilised us. And we did start to play better football. And in the second half, when they tired, we took full control and Ramsey and Xhaka started getting a bit of rhythm going together. But the shambles of the first half and that whole goal, the whole situation that we've seen time and time again in previous years of Stanislas or Wilson just pulling their people out. Then one crossfield ball, you've got their left back in fields of space, fields and fields of space. Ramsey's a centre midfielder playing out wide right. Iwobi, by the way, before that happened, there was 2 or 3 instances where Alex Iwobi was tucked in as well and the same ball was on. And it's a recurring theme of inverted wingers that Wenger seems to have picked up on. And it punished us again. And as you say, Xhaka's ill-disciplined. He worked so hard to get back. He done the right thing. Just stand up, fella. What are you doing, you nut job? Like, what are you doing? It not just Xhaka. I feel it's a panic within the team. We've gone 1-0 down. We're stretched. At the same situation. Bellerin's rushing back. Xhaka's rushing back to help because we're exposed. There's no one in that team going, look, calm the fuck down. Just calm down. We've gone 1-0 down. We're in this game, no problem. Right, these things happen. Bad goals concede. Now calm down. And we didn't. Xhaka's steaming in. Bosh, penalty, 2-0 down. You think, Jesus Christ, 2-0 down. Like, oh my God. And it's so frustrating that there ain't a spearhead. And I'm sure, Mark, you've got your definite, I know you're going to absolutely slate Ramsey on it, and rightly so, but I think there was so many individual errors in them goals, and a lot of it for me come from the system we were attempting to implement, and the players individually should be more aware, but if it's not natural, I'm not defending it, but I'm saying I can understand why it happens. And when we've got our 2 quoted wide men tucked in, it always allows the space. And if the back 4 and Mustafi doesn't come across, and when you watch it back, it took me a long time to notice it, but when I watched it back, I saw Mustafi and he freezes. And as Bellerin goes, that gap gets bigger and bigger and it just creates it. And it was just shambolic. It was absolutely shambolic
stuff. Can I start something, Warren? Would you have dropped Gabriel and brought Mustafi in, considering he obviously wasn't match fit?
Personally, that's another questionable decision. Massively questionable decision. I think Gabriel's fresh as Daisy. I think he's been playing well. We kept 2 clean sheets on the bounce. And we all know Mustafi's a very good centre-back, and he's been very good for us this season. But he looked like he was, God knows how much of a session. He had a session over Christmas, didn't he? He must have. Like, the bloke, him and Bellerin on that right side, they must have been down the same pub. Because they have been for a proper one. They were on a mad one. I've never seen it. Bellerin is Mr. Reliable. He's been so consistent, been fantastic this season, but I think he misses Theo. I know people won't really like that, but I think he does miss Theo's
Theo might have come back for the.
Where is he? Is he still injured?
I think there was an outside chance of him being in the squad, but obviously he wasn't. So maybe they're just resting him. Just taking making more.
It's that coffee machine, isn't it? Yeah. As soon as he's got that, he's not interested. But I'm sure I'm ready to hear Mark, because I know he's probably waiting to explode as well.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, I mean, you look at it from my point of view. I will always look at individual players, and you say about them not being aware, etc. Now, I struggle to buy into that when you're talking about experienced professional footballers who've played international football, etc., etc. I mean, when you watch the goal, I was disappointed with Ramsey, who seemed to notice the guy was out there, and he seems to sort of like throw an arm out as if to point in the general direction, whether he's trying to tell Bellerin the guy's out there. But yeah, you're right. Bellerin's got sucked a long way over. He's not looked over his shoulder to see if he's got anyone in his right back space. But what annoys me is, and this is where, like I say, that it's boring with Arsenal at the moment. You think about Bellerin charging over and not putting the brakes on in exactly the same way that Theo did at Everton. And we laced Theo for that. He got laced on telly by the pundits, and we tore him to pieces for that. Not just because he's Theo, anyone. Yeah, and it's shown by Bellerin. You do not just charge over without being able to put the brakes on. You get over and you get goal side of the guy and you stand him up and you make him beat you.
But he didn't even do that, Mark, did he? He charged over. He did nothing.
Charged over, didn't stop, ran past him. The guy just left him. But so that's a very, very amateur mistake. You look at Cech hasn't covered himself in glory. Bellerin was fouled, as Amanda said. There's not a great deal of difference between the foul of that Xhaka made. Xhaka's challenge is just for a professional footballer to push someone over like that in the penalty area is just fucking criminal.
But dialing back, let's dial back. I mean, what did you think of the lead up, the build up? Because it was from their half, I think Coquelin and Mustafi. Yeah, Coquelin and Mustafi just both let him. Just take a professional foul, take a yellow.
Well,
spoil the game. That's what they did to us.
A touch that brought him the wrong way, to be honest. And then he could see Coquelin was only about 2 or 3 yards in front of him with a Bournemouth player right behind him, and he still laid him the ball. I don't understand why he didn't knock it back to I think it was Bellerin or Xhaka who were back at that point maybe. Yeah, but he didn't. He basically hand grenaded it to Coquelin, who got caught by the guy that he was unaware was up his arse, and they broke. We fouled the one fella, but the ref played a good advantage, and the guy went on, and that's what leads to the penalty. It's just, it's amateur, mate. It's amateur. These sort of mistakes, it's just not like watching a fully trained and coached and professional football team that work on all aspects of the game. When we've got the ball and they're playing passes, lovely. Yeah, they look like they've been coached to death on that. But it's other things, they just don't seem to switch on. In transition, they do not seem to switch on quickly. And and that, again, that does come down to players and individual mistakes, which I know, you can't blame Wenger for, but I would suggest that some coaching would go a long way to help him. But you can't blame Wenger for Xhaka doing that. It's just criminal.
What surprised me was, as you've all have said, that what kind of team Bournemouth are. They're going to get bodies in around. Obviously, they haven't got Wilshere, so they're going to get bodies in around. They're going to run their legs off. They're going to put 3 mobile, very quick forwards up front. I think it was King, Wilson, and Stanislaus. So you know what they're going to do. They're going to do the diags. They're going to spread it wide. They're going to try and hit us long. And usually, 3 of those 4 defenders that are out there, great one-on-one defenders. But for some reason or another, they just were at the races. And I just couldn't explain. I couldn't fathom. I couldn't explain why we were so off the pace. And, the midfield, again, overrun, outworked, outfought for much of the game. Coquelin goes off injured. I think Kostas, did he go off injured as well? I think, and then he was replaced by somebody. Was it Gabriel or someone or whatever? I don't know. It was, and it really took a long time. And then I think to myself, well, if we were so fatigued and so out of it, how the hell did we get back to 3-3?
Oh, gee, I'll just jump in on that. I thought when Kos went off injured, Gabriel come on and showed the way. All he done was come on and sat 5 yards deeper. I don't understand why we were putting ourselves in them situations time and time again. And Gabriel was very good, I thought, when he come on again. And really, the frustrating thing is after that mad spell at the start of the first half, after Ops come on and Ramsey went back in with Xhaka, we still had instances where we were at 1, but we won the game 3-1 from then. And it's just that mad start and that frustration. And the third goal, yes, it was a foul, but I think Bellerin was over reliant on his pace, and he forgot to be strong. He just forgot. He got the wrong side as well, which was frustrating because he let his opponent get goal side, and he was just, yes, it was a foul, but you come on, do you know what I mean? Come on, Hector. I mean, like Wenger said, he's carrying a knock, which is strange that he's even out there and being put in a position, but we just weren't at the races, and thankfully there was a spark from somewhere. Lucas come on the left, and we started to play and we started to create, and I think Ramsey sat very deep alongside Xhaka, and them two were just, the ball kept coming back. We kept getting it back forward towards Bournemouth, and every now and then they had the odd break, but Gabriel, as I said, after he dropped in he sat in 5 yards deeper, and I think that helped the team as a whole. And I think Ramsey and Xhaka then started to get on the ball in deeper areas and progressively pass forward, and we started to create.
You're talking about game management now, in-game management from certain individuals, and it's making the difference. You know, coming from, like you said, Gabriel sitting just a bit deeper, shoring up the midfield with Ramsey and Gabriel, and then it just the tide turned. And I think, you know, Giroud and Alexis were a big part of that. I mean, just talk us through, Mark. I want to come back to you, Mark. Just talk us through Giroud's contribution, because up until then he was getting quite a lot of pelters from people. I don't know whether you believe it was rightly so or unjustified, but it goes to show that there's a school of thought that says that Giroud is a 20-minute player. All right,
20 minutes.
And some people are saying that last night, in a nutshell, was why you bring on Giroud. You don't really start him. In a perfect world, you wouldn't start him. He's a great number. He's a great B-plan option. But just talk us through what you thought of his contribution and the rest of the guys in that second half, or the last 20 minutes, should I say?
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, maybe you have to give credit to the change of system to go to what was more or less a 4-4-2. And Giroud, you know, that obviously Giroud having a partner gives him someone who not to play off, but to play off him. And hello, Amanda's taking off again. And
I'm trying to keep it cool.
That's Amanda realising that she can have Giroud play for 20 minutes. You know, he had a big part to play in it, and particularly when you look at the goals. You know, the first goal he's done really, really well to be strong and get the flick on, because it's a deliberate flick on. He knows Alexis is coming in at the far post. His touch for Lucas's goal was awesome, because, you know, Xhaka's pinged it in at him, and he's kind of, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He wants to take the pace off it and dink it up and over towards Lucas, and the finish was sublime. And obviously his sort of cross shoulder come header to win the point was good as well. But, you know, and he led the line, and he battled, and he showed a lot of character, and which he has done since he's come back. You know, his goals and assists have been pretty special over the last 3 or 4 games. So I thought he did well, and I think Woz covered it. You know, with Ox coming on, and the change to the 4 in the middle gave Xhaka and Ramsey a little bit more time and space to play, because before that they were just getting swamped in the middle, and nothing was working for us. But again, it's like, you know, 3-0 down before we do it. It's disappointing. We shouldn't be getting ourselves into this position. As creditable as that fight back is, we should not be getting ourselves into that position.
Was, as you said earlier on, it's hard to explain why someone like Lucas Perez has dropped. And he's probably the only one that really is adept at getting in behind, you know, that wants to go in behind the defence, like someone like Walcott likes to do. But do you think he should really get more? I mean, people are saying that he should get more of a run in the team. Would you like to see him get a run in the team? I mean, he's not much more he can do, is it?
Personally, G, I thought the previous game against Palace, he was getting rave reviews from a lot of people watching at home, and in the ground, I didn't actually think he was that good. His movement was clever, but on the right hand side, he just, I don't know. I know he scored the hat-trick against Basel out on the right, but I just think he's far better on his left foot. I think I saw a lot of things that impressed me a hell of a lot. And first things first, his movement, his lateral movement across the lines, like you touched on, is absolutely phenomenal. It's Eduardo-esque. I haven't seen anyone move like that for a while. And Walcott does it, but his movement is always outside to in. It's right. Lucas is making runs and creating space that over sort of 4 or 5 yards from the middle of the pitch out, and he's getting himself in. And what also impressed me about Lucas being on the left is I found that every time he got into them wide left areas, his crossing is incisive. He don't just float across it. He drills across it, or he looks for a man, and he he actually tries to attempt to find his man, and his finish was absolutely phenomenal. And the goal, another thing I would say that it did help for that goal, I did notice a bit more in the second half. I thought in the first half, every time Alexis got the ball, his first thought was to cut inside and an inverted cross. And he tried it. He'd cut inside and shoot. And I don't know if you remember, last season we went for a spell with Alexis on the left wing, and he just looked terrible for about 2 months because we were narrowing the game up, and he was being forced inside, and time again defenders could see what was going to happen, and he couldn't get round the outside, and he weren't using his fullback, and Monreal and him weren't really a partnership. In the first half, I sort of felt that was the case, and with that goal, the Giroud goal, in the second half, I thought he started to use Monreal a lot more. The overlap, he used it on occasion. Alexis played about 3 or 4 balls down the line, through balls to Monreal, which were just unlucky, went out of play. And then it gets them guessing, and they don't all of a sudden think, oh, he's definitely coming inside here. So that goal, you see Alexis get the ball, Monreal bombs past him, and the guy in the middle doesn't automatically cut across the passing line, and Xhaka is then free. And Alexis plays it into him. Xhaka, first time ball, brilliant. And Giroud's touch. I mean, we're talking about this guy. You forget the bloke is a 6'4" lump. Do you know what I mean? He's just caressed it. Look, the pace on the ball from Xhaka, and he's just put it into the path. He's dropped down, and look, all Lucas has got to do, I'll say all he's got to do is a phenomenal finish, but I'm saying he's just got to concentrate. The weight of the pass, and he's took all the power off of the Xhaka pass. Just so it sits there nicely just to hit, and I'm sure Lucas pings them in training time and time again, and it's to execute it there and then in the game is brilliant, and we're back, we're back in it, and we battle, but I thought Giroud's influence was fantastic. And the one thing that you touched on, I just want to point out, people who say he's only a 20-minute player, he's played 90 minutes for the last 3 games. The first game, he got the winner in the 88th minute. The second game, he gave us the lead in the 17th minute, and he was there till the 90th minute. And the third game, he has single-handedly got 2 assists and a goal and got us a point. And if that's a 20-minute player, then I'm astonished, because
I think what people are saying is that those 3 goals came in the last 20 minutes.
Right.
So,
but obviously he's been playing for the previous 70. So
yeah. What people are saying is generally optimum, like the best case. I mean, some people say the best case scenario is a great plan B option. Bring him on late in the half, where he can do his damage, where he can, affect the game more. But I mean, that's by the by.
What impressed me is his physical attributes. Despite the size of him, the fact that he can play. What I'm trying to say is the fact he can last 70 minutes and then in the last 20 minutes make that impact, despite being the big old boy he is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's quite impressive. When I completely agree that the last 20 minutes of games are certainly where you want him destroying centre backs, because they're going to be tired by then. But what I mean is the fact he's still able to do that despite playing his third 90-minute game in the space of 8 days says a lot for a man of that sort of build. If you understand where I'm coming from, I was quite impressed with the way he took it on himself.
Sorry, can we just talk about something else, because we haven't really mentioned it, like Perez's goal. It was just brilliant.
You just did.
No, but I haven't mentioned it.
Okay.
I want to mention it. Because obviously the whole thing about the whole of yesterday was how bad we were for 70 minutes and Giroud not celebrating, all this shit, right? We've actually scored some really good goals in the last few games. And I just think we should acknowledge that. I think we should sort of end this on a bit of a positive note, because look, how far are we behind Chelsea now if they lost tonight?
8.
I
think we're still 8 points behind.
8 points. Look, it's first week in Jan. I do believe the top 6 teams, unfortunately, we all laughed at United. Oh, God. And they're not far behind now, are they?
2 points.
So this is a crucial month, because you've got Liverpool playing United. We play Chelsea. I think Spurs play Liverpool sometime. It's much more exciting than last year, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. With Chelsea losing to our arch rivals, it's kind of like made it again all to play, because they were on a roll, 13 on the bounce. It made it, we're on a roll, and now Man United caught up with their 6th on the spin. It's kind of bunching up the group again. I don't
want to piss on your chips and tell you it's vinegar, Amanda, but after 20 games last season, we were top.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? It's January. I don't care about being top.
Yeah, we've. Oh, no. Well, you don't care about us being top in January. You don't care about us being 5th in January.
No, not really.
What do you care about?
I worry about it in April and May. What does it matter? As long as we're there or thereabouts. Weren't Tottenham around second and we nabbed that?
Well, it's the thing about, isn't it more exciting? No, it's not more exciting. It's more fucking same. No, it's not. It's more the same shit.
I suppose for the neutral though, Mark. For the neutral, Mark. I know you don't care. I know you don't. But for the neutral, like, what I want to say is to back Amanda. I don't even know if Amanda's trying to make this point, but for 8 points between the top 6, where it was something like 12 points between the top 6 about a week ago. It's bunched it all up again. I don't look at the table really at this moment in time, but it could be a lot better if we'd have won the 2 away games against City and Everton. Could have been within 2, but we're not too far away, and no one is too far away from anyone actually. So this month is another crucial month where a lot of our rivals are playing each other. We've got, I don't like saying it, winnable games, because I don't trust us lots to win those winnable games.
We got the next 3 games are winnable on paper. The trouble is we don't play on paper.
Exactly.
Right? But after that, we've still got to go to Chelsea. We've still got to go to Liverpool. We've got to go to Tottenham. We've got City and United to come to our place.
Stoke.
We've got to go to Stoke, Southampton.
We've got to go to Liverpool,
2 great places for us. So,
but what Giles is saying, Mark, is, I mean, like, I didn't know either, Giles, it was 8 points, because don't really look now. As long as we're in the mix, that's all I care about. I don't want to be 8th or 9th. That's the difference. But there are games. I mean, I did not expect Chelsea to lose tonight. At least the draw. I don't even think they turned up, to be honest. So anyone can beat anyone. And I'm just trying to sort of be a bit more positive, because I know we all feel the same. I don't know if Warren is an Arsene Wenger in or out or not, but I know you and I are, and Giles are. We want some change. But I just feel there's going to be a lot more twists and turns. That's what I'm talking about. And I would be concerned if this was April, not the first week in January.
Well, I'd be a lot more concerned if it was April and we were 8 points behind. But I still think, we shouldn't be 8 points behind at this point of the season. But there we go. We are, and we've got to do something about it. But, it's whether or not you think we can.
Just a word about the Killjoys who were cursing Giroud for his goal celebration. I mean, you get 30 seconds regulation or something like that. Is that right, Amanda? His was only for a few 8 seconds and whatnot, and people were like, going on and on and on about. And then at the end of the game,
something.
And at the end of the game, they were talking about Sanchez being petulant, throwing his gloves on the floor, and that meant
So I've seen the video, all right. And do you know what? I had a bit of an argument with someone I'm quite close to on Twitter about this today. He reckons he's turning into Thierry Henry. I said, it's not petulant. He's pissed off. He's pissed off that he doesn't win every single game. And he's pissed off the people around him are not pissed off they're not winning every single game. The bloke should be admired for his passion for our club. I'm sorry, whether he leaves or not.
No, I get what you're saying, Amanda, yeah. But, there was signs towards Henry's time at the club that he did get a bit petulant and a bit selfish, and he did give looks to players at misplaced passes. Now, I said the other day that, I rate Sanchez, and he normally is very supportive of teammates. If a teammate plays a bad pass to him, he will give him the old clap above his head and that, or give him a thumbs up and that. I have noticed recently, and I'm only talking like last maybe three games possibly, just something creeping in where he seems to be losing patience a lot more, and he's gesticulating, and you can see by his face that he's beginning to get very, very frustrated. Now I can understand that, because he does want to win every single game, but he's been here now the best part of 3 seasons, and this is only just starting to happen now, and it worries me because of the contract situation. I've already said, because of his nature, I don't think he will stay if we don't win anything this year, because this guy wants to go and win things.
No, can I just say that I agree with you? I don't think he's staying. I don't think his body language is showing that. But he's not. Henry did that, and Henry did that for a long time. Those looks, the petulant. He's not doing that, Mark.
He is now, man. This is what I'm saying. You watch him now. You watch him from now on. He is doing it now. I think he gave Ramsey some stick last night from what I've read. I mean, I didn't go to the game, so I don't know. I mean, maybe Woz can say something about that.
And sorry, Woz, 1 second. But did you see Pedro and Costa tonight? They had a full-blown row on the pitch. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, I have to be honest. Anyway, go on, Warren.
I do. I see how frustrated he was at the end of the game, and I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think Alexis is probably one of them players that are very self-critical, and I actually thought by his very high standards, he had a very poor game. He completed just 65% of his passes. He only one of his crosses found his man out of 5. He completed just 2 take-ons. He only beat 2 men in the whole game. He wasn't on his own personal game, and I think a lot of that draws frustration. I think he was frustrated that the ref blew the whistle earlier than he should have. I think he was frustrated that we didn't win the game. I think he was frustrated with his own performance. He might have been frustrated with other people. But it all boils down to one thing. And the only thing I would say about him throwing his gloves and all that, everyone deals with things in different ways. Just because people like Aaron Ramsey or Lucas Perez Perez was running around like a nutcase. He was inspired. You could see he was up for it. He wanted it. But then you get other people who are more reserved. I mean, I'm sure Mustafi was absolutely seething, but he's not the kind of man that throws his toys out of the pram. Koscielny, everyone deals with things in different ways, and unfortunately, us as football fans and the people who pay and go to the games, we're all like raging lunatics, and we all want to see our emotions spoil out in the 11 men running around. But sometimes you have to appreciate, and also there's football fans, to be fair, who are very good mates of mine, and people I speak to are very relaxed about everything. And it don't faze them, and you have to appreciate that people do things in different ways. And just because Sanchez is throwing his gloves and going mad, it don't mean he's any more or less pissed off than anyone else. And you don't know. They might have got back in that dressing room, and there might have been other players throwing their boots at the wall. You don't know. But
I mean, you're absolutely right. It was. I mean, the other day it was Gabriel and Lucas, wasn't it?
And Lucas, for not tracking back, and that was. I did notice that, but it's good.
I like that. I like that because I remember Lee Dixon said in the talk last year. He said that back in his day, you don't have to be best mates. No one says you have to be best mates, but you should be able to have a frank discussion with your teammate. If you feel he's not pulling his weight or he's not doing this or whatever the case may be, you should be able to have a frank discussion.
No, I get that, but I think there is a distinction between what you do on the pitch, somewhat, because that does harm. Look, let's not forget, we're not the mentally strongest, regardless of coming back from 3-0 down. Yeah, we're not the mentally strongest of teams. So you can see that we've got some characters in the team who may not take to that kind of behaviour very well. So I don't know. I don't mind. Listen, and no one loves Alexis more than me, and he embodies to me the sort of spirit that you need as a footballer. Because he hates losing, he wants to win every game, and he run his bollocks off. The man's a machine. But it just concerns me that I'm seeing it boil over and actually come out and be exhibited a little bit more. And I'm just worried that some of our delicate little flowers may be upset by.
Well, do you know what?
The suggestion that they're not trying quite as hard as he is.
I'm sorry. I don't care if they get upset. He's got every right, and I think Warren's right. No, I think Warren's right with the word that he used. Is frustration more than anything else. That's why I argued when someone said he was petulant. I don't think he's petulant at all. He is not on this ilk. He is frustrated at everything. I want to see that in all my players. I'd love them to know that they all went in the dressing room through their fucking boots at the wall. They should be paying everyone's bloody fares and ticket prices that went down there yesterday. So I'm sorry, but I've got no qualms with Alexis acting like that.
Okay, I think this is a point where we can bring it to a close. I want to thank my 3 panelists, Mark, Woz, and Amanda.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, podcast husband. It's been a while.
Thank you, wife. The swear jar is running over, let me tell you.
No fucking way.
Even Woz had dropped an F-bomb in there somewhere today.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
I was angry though. Mate, I'll tell you now, if it had been about 5 hours earlier today, there would have been a whole bank full of
C-bombs and
swear jars. Yeah, mate.
Could you imagine we called in last night? Could you imagine? didn't do any last night.
I think I'd have smashed my laptop last night, to be fair. So I'm glad that didn't come to that.
By the way Amanda's laptop sounds, I think she smashed her laptop last night. Make sure you all catch us on all the channels, YouTube, iTunes, at the website, www.goonerramble.com, obviously at Twitter, at Gooner Ramble. You know the everybody's Twitter tags. Hit us up, give us a like, drop some mentions, and thanks again, once again, for listening. Good night.